Coming up in this video, we are making 3 types of Christmas candy. You don't want to miss out. First up is coconut bonbons. We're going to be making coconut bonbons in the Basic and More cookbook, and you're going to find the recipe on $3.89. To start, we're going to need 1 pound of powdered sugar, 1 softened stick of butter, 1 cup of sweetened condensed milk, a half a teaspoon of vanilla, 2 cups of unsweetened coconut, and your melted chocolate. All right, first we're going to weigh out our powdered sugar into our clean bowl. Then we're going to add our butter. To measure our sweetened condensed milk, we're going to spray with grease our measuring cup. That way it slides out. And we don't need the whole can. We can use that for another candy. Then we'll add that to the bowl. Then we'll add our half a teaspoon of vanilla. And we're going to carefully whisk this together. All right, then we're going to add our 2 cups of coconut. See how fine this is? If it doesn't come this fine, you will want to chop it up. Make sure. And it might be easier in a stand mixer if you have one of those. I just thought it'd be easier to show you using a hand mixer. Now, you want to wrap this with saran wrap and chill it for at least 3 to 4 hours or overnight. And if you have a hectic life and can't remember when you put it in the refrigerator, you can write that time on here. And off into the refrigerator. All right, you see the pan through the wax paper. We're going to cut lines perpendicular to the pan. And you want to go in how deep it is longer. And we'll do that to the other side. Hold it. And tuck it around. That way you get into all 4 corners and it comes out clean. Then you can turn this up if you want, depending on what you're making. Next up is peanut butter fudge. We're going to make Alton Brown's peanut butter fudge. I've been making this for at least 10, 12, 14 years. It's really simple, really quick and easy, and all your friends will be really impressed. His recipe directions will tell you to put your butter and your peanut butter in the microwave bowl and mute it for 2 minutes and stir it, then mute it 2 more minutes and stir it. But I skipped that and just do it on the stove. So we're going to add our 2 sticks of butter to a medium saucepan. And the wrapper we're going to use to grease our dish. So with our pan on a medium-low heat, we're going to heat this up. And to get my peanut butter in the measuring cup, we're going to spray it with grease first. And you can have this made in like 5 minutes. It's not something you need to make sure it goes to a hard candy stage or firm ball stage or anything like that. So we're going to add our cup of peanut butter and our cup of butter to the pan. And I'm sure you can add candy to this or chips or nuts. So I'm using a high temperature spatula to mix this together and melt it. It's probably faster in the saucepan than it is in the microwave, or at least healthier. So we're going to melt this together. And see how it's all melted? And it took me more time to measure out the 3 3/4 cup of powdered sugar than it did for this to melt. So what we're going to do next is add a teaspoon of vanilla. And we've turned it off the heat. And we're just going to pour it into our sugar. Then we're going to mix it. You should mix it with a wooden spoon if you have one, but I'm not, just because I already dirtied this one. And you want to make sure it's well incorporated. This is probably the hardest part. We're going to butter our pan here. Then we're just going to press it in. Alright, then I'm just going to take my offset spatula and get it smooth. Probably do the same thing with a dinner knife. And you just want this to chill in your refrigerator for a couple hours, or overnight is best. Then you can cut it into 1-inch squares. So off to the refrigerator. This recipe is called Cherry Mash Candy, and I saw it on Catherine's Plates YouTube channel, and it's one of her mom's favorite candies growing up. And I made it the other day, and Howard said it was very good. So I'm going to show you this recipe, and maybe he'll do a taste test for you again. We're going to need 4½ cups of powdered sugar that's sifted, 6 tablespoons of butter, 3 tablespoons of beaten condensed milk, a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, a 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract, a whole jar of maraschino cherries drained, and 2 packs of good quality chocolate or almond bark. If you have cocktail peanuts, you want to grind them up into a fine dust. and use that for a topping, you might need some coconut oil or vegetable oil for your chocolate when you're dipping it. First, I'm gonna measure out my 4.5 cups of powdered sugar. That way you don't have any lumps in your confectionery treat. So I'm going to use my KitchenAid sifter. To get this job done. Now that we're done sifting, we're going to take half the sugar out of this bowl and put it in here. And make sure you try to get it in the bowl and not all over the place. Next, we're going to drain our cherries, and I have a sieve here to catch them, and we're going to collect the juice just in case we need it for our recipe. Whoops, lost a couple. I'm sure we'll catch them. And you want to chop them very well into very fine pieces. So starting with half the sugar, we're gonna add 6 tablespoons of butter, and I'm just slicing it to give it an easier start of mixing. We're gonna also add our cherries. Next, we're gonna add a half a teaspoon of almond extract, and a little goes a long way, so don't overfill it. Then we're going to add our half a teaspoon of vanilla. And then our 3 tablespoons. All right, to add our condensed milk, and since we don't have or need the whole can, I'm going to spray this tablespoon with release. And that way, whatever goes into my spoon is going to slide right out. Well, most of the time. All right, let's double check our ingredients. So we have half the powdered sugar, the butter, the chopped cherries, the sweetened condensed milk, and both the extracts. We're using powdered sugar. We better get some shields up in here. All right. Then we're going to combine this. And after it's been combined for 30 seconds, you can go ahead and add the rest of that powdered sugar. We're going to take the ring off and lift this up. Then that will go in so much easier. You can use a hand mixer for this job. You just might need a towel for this part. So we want to make it a thick consistency, but yeah, it's definitely, a thick batter. So we're ready for our next step. We're going to take a 1.5 inch cookie scoop, and we're going to just get a big scoop of it and slide it up the side so it's all level until it's all used up. Now that we have our candies scooped out, we're going to put them in the freezer and we're going to let them chill for an hour. And now that they're out of the freezer and been chilling for the last hour, I'm going to put some gloves on. And we're going to shape them into balls. Just like that. And this is why I wore gloves. Sticky hands. So, I'm gonna saran wrap these. We're gonna chill them for the rest of the night, and I'm gonna dip them in the morning. So it's time to shape our balls, which I'm using a cookie scoop. I'm just gonna roll them using gloves just to be more sanitary. And the smaller the cookie scoop, the more candies you're gonna get. And you shouldn't have to worry about them being uniform size unless you're selling them. Because I'm sure anybody that gets them as a gift will be appreciative of them. When you're almost done rolling your balls, you want to start preheating your pot of water. And I have a glass bowl to create a double boiler. You want to put it on low temperature because chocolate can't handle anything than a low heat. It will burn very quickly. So we're going to heat the bowl up and we're going to start putting our chocolate in. I hear that using a good quality chocolate makes your process a lot easier. I'm going to be using Ghirardelli bittersweet chocolate chips. And you want to put a little bit at a time so they melt faster. Our chocolate is melting. And we're going to put a half a teaspoon in of coconut oil. The recipe for the cherry mash candy recommends it, so we'll just put it in for both the coconut bonbons and the cherry mash candy. Alright, our chocolate is melted, so we're going to dip our coconut bonbons and our cherry mash candy. And we're going to take, so I think the key is using high quality chocolate, because I've never had this much luck. Our recipe yielded 61 of the coconut bonbons and about 30 of the cherry mash candies. With the cherry mash candies, you want to make sure they're coming right out of the freezer and not getting a little soft. They have to be firm. So please dip them right out from the freezer. And the directions also say to put little crushed peanuts on top. That'll be an easier way to know which ones are which with the coconut and the cherry. And that's the cherry mash candy.
Yep, Russell Stovers will be out of business next week.
You think you're so smart. All right, you have the coconut bonbon there.
Good.
This video is part of It's a Candy Christmas collaboration hosted by Mtn Grandma and Lisa from Yogi Hollow Farms. On January 3rd at 7:30 Mountain Time, they will be hosting a live stream giveaway. You must be present to win, and I'm sure there will be comment picker prizes, so please leave a comment down below to be entered in this live stream giveaway. I'm sure there'll be plenty of prizes for everybody to be had. Good luck, everybody, and Merry Christmas!